And we begin again. Oh, welcome to Between Two Pastries. This is Nicole.
Hey everyone, it's Annie.
So we wanted to do a follow-up, and we'll probably do a couple along the way here on the previous post that we did in regards to kind of what is a diet and really kind of dissecting that whole thing. So something that we just wanted to kind of explain that we didn't quite get to in that first podcast that we did was, what is the purpose of actually eating? What is the purpose of our food?
Oh, it tastes good. I think food is supposed to nourish us, right?
Right. So when we talk about that, there are certain nutrients that we all need, and when you start to eliminate groupings of food or certain types of food, or because even if you simply don't like something too, you're removing the possibility of you receiving that type of nutrient, basically.
So answer this. So the three main, or I'm going to say it really, the three main nutrients are carbohydrate, protein, and fat. So when we say eliminate a nutrient, we're talking about those three macronutrients. And then you have micronutrients, which are vitamins and minerals that are found within carbohydrates, protein, fat.
Right.
So obviously then we have different food groups. We can include fruits, vegetables, dairy, meat, grains, and fat.
Sure.
And think about that. As your food groups. And so you have a variety of diets that generally, outside of maybe two I can think of offhand, every other single diet except those two eliminate, exclude an entire group of macronutrients. And for the skeptics out there, please listen to the whole podcast and the whole series on diets. Don't turn this off right now. But when you eliminate that whole macronutrient category, your body is going to suffer. And the argument is, well, no, because the body is resilient and can do all these other things to
Yes, the body loves being under stress. Right. Yeah, and so it does not, by the way.
It does, even though you don't feel it.
Yeah.
We can't see what's actually going on. So please listen, and please try to keep a very open, wide lens on this, especially if you have been following something that has eliminated carbohydrate, fat, and or protein from your diet exclusively. So what do those three things do in the body? I mean, let's just start with a basic, what do carbohydrates do for us?
Yeah. So, carbohydrates are actually a really important piece for us. Number one, they really carry the majority of our B vitamins that we need. And without the right amount of B vitamins, we actually have an inability to regulate stress hormone. So what's ironic is that, what's super ironic is that when people want to eliminate carbohydrate in general, they're really, really not getting in the kind of B vitamin that they need. And when they don't, their cortisol continues to go through the roof. And part of that weight loss is due to that extreme stress that people are undergoing. So,
but Nicole, wait, can't I get B vitamins in vegetables? Wait.
Right. So, but we're missing some major sources.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't eat enough of certain things and think you're going to hit all of those.
Right.
That's kind of the bottom line there. But so it's just important. It's so ironic though that certain things people do, and then they're like, I crave X, Y, and Z all the time, or I have headaches now all the time, or I just don't, or
I'm anemic,
right? Or I start feeling some different
Can't
things.
sleep.
Well, because so
low
many
energy.
of the things are.
My skin is really getting weird. My hair falls out. Right. I don't understand. No, but that's actually so true. So we know we're the basic carbohydrate provides energy, i.e. B vitamins.
Right.
It is nutrition to the brain.
Right.
As well.
Right.
So what about fat? What does fat do for the body?
As well as fiber too. And again, we could really just kind of do a whole lunch and learn on all these things. But we're not going to spend all of that time on there. But and fat too. I mean, fat helps us absorb some of those fat soluble vitamins that you'll find in some carbohydrates that you'll find in some of these other things that, so I think point that we kind of want to make in general is that, all of our nutrients, and this is what's really, really super key, is that they all work synergistically. There is a point of why we have a mixed meal. You know, it's not just because it's the standard, you know, like people talk about, you know, the American diet, you know, meat, potatoes, and, you know, maybe a vegetable,
canned green bean.
It doesn't have to be, you know, quite to that level, but there is a point of why we eat certain things mixed together. Number one, it actually does help maintain our blood sugar level a bit longer. Therefore, we don't have spikes in our blood sugar level, highs and lows, and therefore we don't have spikes then in that cortisol level, again, that stress hormone.
Right.
So it helps us that way. It helps our focus improve too.
Right. You know? I've got a story. So I've had a couple clients actually, which is disturbing on many levels, but a couple clients with young kids. Their kids were like anywhere from infant to 3 years old. And because of their own dieting that they did, they refused to give their child whole milk because of the fat content, which, by the way, there's not a significant amount of fat in whole milk. That will be a conversation that we have at some point. I'm very passionate about the dairy industry, and whole milk is just fine, especially for the infant toddler age.
Especially because
fat is so helpful to our brains. But these moms had it in their head that, I shouldn't eat fat, therefore I'm not going to give it to my infant, regardless of the fact that it is a known fact that infants need whole milk, you know, with vitamin D and everything. And it broke my heart. They were giving, these kids, it was a handful of kids, different parents, all under age 3, soy milk or almond milk. And that's really, really disturbing and so hard. And even with education, the fear around eating fat was so high for the mom, it transferred to the kid. That's a problem that we're seeing out there. So again, you know, this is all generational. You know, the 90s was, you know, no fat, don't eat fat. You can eat all the bread you want, but no fat. And now we're in this whole no carb. And so you look at the Time magazines over the last couple decades, and it's amazing how every single one related to nutrition conflicts with the other, you know, because of how, the nutrition industry, from a product standpoint, it's a marketing industry, you know, like it's what can we sell or what sells to the public.
Right.
And unfortunately, that's how we get in this loophole of diets.
Yeah.
In general. And so people embark on a diet journey because why? They're desperate. They are struggling with body image. They're feeling poopy about themselves. You know, again, people, I just need to change in my diet. And instead of seeking out the appropriate professional, like us, they resort to diets, put a lot of money into it, generally, and then it ends up failing. And they get in this cycle, which I think probably a lot of you have heard the term yo-yo dieting. But it's a very real thing. And also weight cycling, where we go, just for the matter of numbers, we go from, 150 pounds and now I drop to 120 pounds. But now, we can't sustain that diet. So now I jump to 170 pounds.
Right.
Now I'm down to 120 pounds.
Right.
Now I still can't sustain that because nothing changes if nothing changes. Mm-hmm. Now I'm 190 pounds.
Right.
Oh, no.
Right. And this is all really due to erratic eating in general.
Correct.
There hasn't been really any consistency. It's been very extreme. And then that also plays psychologically into, how then we act with food too.
Right. If we just did the balance and moderation at 150 pounds and
Sure.
learned to love our bodies the way they were, made it a slow process through activity, balance, moderation, now we're 140 pounds in a body that is acceptable. I can eat, all different types of foods. I'm getting the nutrition I need. My blood pressure's down or cholesterol's down, whatever, from a health standpoint.
Right.
And no, I didn't shrink myself too low or put myself in a place where my brain doesn't work anymore, which doesn't take a lot.
No, it really doesn't.
For the brain to just go,
yeah,
not going to work.
Right.
So it becomes really hard because, the layers involved in why people diet is really unreal. And so much of it has to do with, not liking their body where it's at. And so, that's probably a different conversation that we'll have with disordered eating and eating disorders and stuff. But because of that, they do these diets, and then they end up at 200 pounds anyways.
Sure.
And then they hate themselves more. But but for some reason, we continue to just pick diets. And then, so then what happens is our set point, which means it's the happy weight our body is at. And for a lot of people, they may not like that number. But when you toy with your set point changes. And it'll start to keep going up if the body cannot trust you.
Right. And it changes because of the stress. So our body actually doesn't like to lose weight, even if someone really needs to for whatever reason. It actually doesn't like to. So that's why you feel hungry a lot when you first start. And, all of these other things are kind of changing at the same time. But, it creates more stress on the body in general than anything else.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And part of it, I know. And part of it too is again, we don't want to, there's so much of this thought, and I think we're starting to move away from this, which is really wonderful, but so much thought in, I have to control my body. I have to force my body to do something that it actually doesn't naturally want to do, but gosh darn it, I have some, weird concept of what I think I need to be looking like or doing or feeling or what have you. So therefore I have to make this happen. Right. And it's like, it's such a fight, and it's, I don't know.
God forbid I'm hungry for lunch at 10 a.m.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's even it's the schedule that diets will, or people diets, whatever, will put themselves on. Because they're restricted so much, or because they've eliminated an entire category of foods, and you're now not giving yourself enough, and now it's like you just sit hungry. I mean, where is the logic in that? If I want everyone who follows diets at this point, take a step back, close your eyes, and really think, like, does that make sense to force myself to sit and wait when my body is telling me, hey, I really need to eat right now? And what happens when we don't eat? Like, if our body says, hey, I'm hungry, and I'm starting to get those hunger cues, what happens when we don't eat? Well, our metabolism just starts to slow down. And the body, then when you do eat, it's just going to say, thank you so much for feeding me, and now I'm going to hold on to all of this.
Yeah, again, because body always wants to stay in a place of homeostasis.
Right.
That's what it's always seeking. And so I always tell my clients, your body is a lot smarter than you are, so to speak. So, and that's the other ironic, the ironic thing about diets too is that, in disordered eating is it's all based on manipulation. And like it'll even be marketed that way. The secrets too. There are no secrets.
None.
Guess what? Your body, None. Your body knows you want to go ahead and try to keep something from it, and it also knows how it's going to counteract that for you. So that's why it's just when we look at, okay, how do we eat? How can we support ourselves even more? We're trying to include everything. Basically, is what we're. What we're trying to say.
And you can include things, and I'm not here to promote anyone losing weight. I don't necessarily promote that. I just you might be able to reach your goals through balance and moderation, and why not do that?
Yeah.
If you can do it, if you can still have a donut, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Right? That's what I don't understand, is why people think they have to give up all of these things, and you really, really, really don't.
Right.
Nicole, so what's our plan with our discussion on diets? Well, how can people, how do we answer these questions for people?
Yeah, so we want to answer your questions that you want to know about specific things. And again, I just want to reiterate too that they're really, we're not trying to say that there's right and wrong ways of doing things. If something really, really speaks to your heart, by all means, it's just fine. We're really just talking about when people are choosing to do things to work against them for the wrong reasons, if you will, or, than anything else. So anyway, we want to hear from you. What do you want to know about as far as certain diets or some of these questions? And we want to answer those in the next in the next sessions.
Yes.
So
we'll do that for
peace
you.
out, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.